Hello, and welcome to Analysts Gone Wild. We're on episode 44. It's Friday, and I changed my attire to something sporty because it's Friday versus we used to do this on Thursday. And Sam's going to give me a hard time throughout the whole episode because I like the Cardinals, but we've won a few, we've lost a few, and sports technology is a big deal. I know we talk about technology a lot on this episode, but it plays a significant role in how these teams are surviving and advancing. But anyway, Robert Kramer with more insights and strategy. I handle and cover ERP, supply chain, and enterprise data. So let's go around the horn, see how everybody's doing today, and then we'll get to some great stories. Michael, why don't we start with you? How are you?
Sure, I'm well. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So Michael Fawcett, I am founder, CEO of Arion Research. We started this about 4.5 years ago. Focused a lot on AI, agentic AI, and the intersection with enterprise applications. Also host a podcast called Disambiguation on AI. We published a couple of books last year on AI. So heavy into the digital workforce and agentic AI world.
Great. Encore. How do you say your name? Encore or like Encore? Welcome to the show. Tell us how we
Encore. Yeah. So thanks, Robert. Hi, Michael. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
So I'm a pretty new founder. I recently founded my own firm, House of Analysts Gone Wild. I love my name, so my name is appearing everywhere. Pardon me if it doesn't look so well, but I seriously love my name. So I have two specific coverage areas. One is the digital engineering workspace, and the second is the manufacturing execution systems. How are they panning out? And we would be talking about both the spheres very well in our conversation moving ahead. So thanks all for joining. Thank you, Robert, for taking this forward. And over to you, Sam.
Yeah, and he loves his name because it's already on core, so he doesn't need to move from that, especially if you are selling, analyst services. That's the kind of name you want. Robert, I didn't know that you talk about sports because you get a little plug there for sports technology. I thought you loved sports. That's why you were talking about sports.
Both. I think sports is, it used to be sponsorships were like about just promoting your team. Now it's about how that sport uses different technology to help change the game for the league, the team, the fans, and at the same time, indirectly it actually promotes that technology as well. But Moneyball was this interesting thing that happened 15, 20 years ago, and now it's come full circle where all the major platforms are being utilized to help these different leagues. So do you think, and I read this, but maybe it was through some source that I couldn't confirm, but that the Toronto Blue Jays they deliberately falsified some names to get some players, and that's how they got so far in the playoffs? Did you hear that?
Falsified some names. Well, how does that work? How can you succeed by falsifying names?
They weren't the rights of the specific players for them, and they changed some things, were able to get them, and that's how they got some of these stars, and they're not supposed to be on the team early. Did you hear that?
Which newspaper are you reading these days? I definitely want to know the name of that.
Yeah, it was definitely not from Toronto.
It was the Cardinal News.
New York
do they have some sort of internet censorship in St. Louis by any chance? Or
and I also thought we were trying to that we're gonna. And I'm not a politician. I don't like politics, but Trump said he doesn't want any more Canadian teams in the league anymore. Did you hear that?
Yeah. I am hearing that. Why would he want that? I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. Why should Canadians play baseball? Why should they appreciate basketball? They should be kicked out already,
got
right?
hockey. Come on.
You got great sports in that. I'm just teasing you. I was just trying to pull something out of the air and it didn't work. But why don't you introduce yourself and jump into the first subject?
Yeah, and people here at Elevate IQ, as well as host of WBS Talks. I'll keep it short, Robert. We have too many jokes today.
Yeah, we'll get to them. So let's go to the first. Accenture to acquire faculty. So I think most people know who Accenture is. It's a global. They do a lot of things, but from an IT perspective, they're a system integrator. They're a consulting firm. They do a lot of transformation. They have a lot going on with AI. This other company, faculty, who they're going to acquire, is a consulting company out of the UK with some roots in modeling, data science, AI development, deployment. So why is this such a big deal, guys? I just want to kind of walk through that, the pros, the cons. I'm assuming this is probably a positive and not marketing. It just gives them a little bit more depth. It's like if Toronto added more players, it's giving more, more opportunity to succeed. So, Toronto should be doing that as well. But so what do we all think about Accenture acquiring this company?
Hey, guys, one thing quickly. I think we are getting some feedback from somebody's background. I don't know who that is.
A lot of
if you can mute yourself if you're not talking, I'll appreciate
I think Sam did that when I was
sure
talking about Toronto because you didn't want.
I don't want to hear
it's a white noise
Canada,
machine,
Toronto. So obviously, I'm.
All right. So, Michael, what do you think? Is this real? Is it a good expansion? Do we like? Because I think transformation is a key to success. I mean, Sam talks so much about change management that he thinks that you can't have enough resources to handle this transformation. What do you think?
I mean, to be honest, around almost everything AI these days, there's a talent shortage. And so I think, it just makes sense if I'm a consulting company trying to do work in transformation and AI, I'm going to want to add as many qualified resources as I can. What's a quick way to do it? If you're a big consulting company, buy another consulting company. So it seems like made a lot of sense to me.
But do you guys think, and even talking to the Encore and Sam, manufacturing is a major component of this transformation that we're talking about. Bringing more of the workforce needs to be heightened a little bit, because I think the jobs are coming home to the United States a little bit more in manufacturing, and the workforce that's currently in manufacturing is aging out. So I think it's a big thing to beef up in the transformation sector. What do you both think? Because I know that manufacturing is a key for the two of you.
So Robert, maybe I can take this up. Maybe Sam can comment on manufacturing stuff, but I have one interesting element which I could observe in this particular deal. That is the fact that it is being marketed as very high focus on safe and secure AI solutions. So again and again, it's being called as Accenture is adopting faculty, and faculty focuses on bias-free, explainable outcomes. So if you try to see, I see this as a direct competition of Accenture with Palantir. Palantir has a similar focus and vision in terms of explainable AI, and they have significant focus on safe AI, and also Palantir has the basis of starting in the defense and public sector space. So that aligns very well, and Accenture, in my opinion, is directly competing with Palantir and trying to take the same space as what Palantir has observed in the last 1 year.
Yeah, so great points, guys. I can take this. And Robert, again, I'm not too sure which newspaper you are reading these days. I'm not entirely sure if manufacturing jobs are coming to the US. In fact, I mean, I was listening to CNBC yesterday, and everybody's talking about diversifying from the US, at this point of time, right? Just because of the uncertainty. Nothing against the US. We love you. But you know what? Market conditions are not favorable right now. Sorry, Robert, you have a comment. I guess you're trying to speak.
I mean, there's a ton of news out there that manufacturing is coming back to the United States, and the workforces are aging out. And how do they prepare the younger workforce for that they want to actually go into that industry? And there's a shortage of workers for that. I'll send you the reports, but there's a ton out there talking about how this is opening up between now and 2030. But I think it's a real situation if you just Google it. But maybe I don't know. Do you have less access in Toronto than we do in the United States?
Everything is censored these days. I mean, we are not allowed to have any access from the world because we are so dependent upon the US, I guess.
Yeah, but
we all know that.
I think what
elbows up, Sam.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. But that's what I'm seeing. If you see something different, that's fine. But
So
go ahead.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So I guess, I mean, I have spoken to one of the economists from NAM, and he used to be with National Association of Manufacturing, not National American. Now these days, I mean, everything seems so American. I don't know why, but yeah. So National Association of Manufacturing. His name is Chad Moutre. He used to be there. Now he is with NRA, I believe, and NRA is not the rifle one, I guess, the restaurant one. So he is with them, and I discussed with him, okay, what do you think about the manufacturing job situation? Because every single marketing channel, if you talk about job, you get a lot of views. That's why we should be talking about that, by the way. But what he explained is that, look, manufacturers are not able to pay the amount that workers require. And that's why you have job crisis. It's not necessarily the real job crisis. If you pay them well, then they'll come to there. Right now, if you look at the average pay or wages, that's less than, let's say, $18. Sometimes it is $26. That's the kind of money that they are making. Obviously, they need to work 18 hours, even with that money, and nobody wants to get into those kind of jobs. That's the real problem. It's not the actual worker shortage. Yes, people talk about that, but the real driver is compensation, because they can find other places where they can find job. But right now, this is a different situation. People are willing to take whatever they can find because it's really bad. Now, coming back to this one, okay? So I'm not entirely sure, Ankur, if this would be comparable to Palantir. Palantir would be more of a product company. These guys are consulting companies. So I am with Michael on this one, that this would be more of the talent acquisition in my mind. And then if you read the press release, what I'm seeing, and I could be off here, but for the most part, the reason why they are going after the UK market, and it seems public and private sector, both. From the private sector perspective, you have life sciences, and then from the public sector perspective, you have government. So I don't know if they are trying to diversify. There is a possibility. 90% of the consulting firms, as far as I know, are trying to diversify as much as possible. And UK market, I don't know if it is attractive compared to other markets. Everything is pretty bad right now, but maybe there is something here. The next thing that you are able to see, pharma is probably going to be a big factor in general for everybody. And it seems like they have very unique expertise here from the pharma perspective. Now, a couple of things, I guess. Consulting market is changing a lot as well. I don't know whether you guys have read the press release today from Deloitte. They are changing the traditional job titles and the hierarchies, the way consulting industries work. Now, consultants are no longer called consultants. They are called software engineers. Can you believe this? So there is a massive change, because the roles and responsibilities of consulting companies are going to change. And I think everybody else is going to follow. Accenture has done that as well. With their positioning, with their business model, they have changed their name. I think everybody is going to follow what Deloitte is doing right now.
Well, in the end, isn't it just about, can you deliver what the customers need? So does this all really matter? I mean, are the customers getting what they need? Does these additional resources and capabilities inside Accenture help the customers out or not? I mean, we don't know. I mean, I know the customers are very fickle and challenging to move on-prem to off-prem. So, I mean, I don't know. Time will tell. But I think that, as I talk to all the major ERP vendors, they are all sitting in the same place, trying to get the customers to move. And this doesn't change anything as far as I'm seeing. It just says, hey, we have some more bodies of resources to help you. But, what do you think, Michael or
Well, I mean, I do think there's been a critical talent shortage all over the place when it comes to AI and transformation, and how you apply this. So to me, again, it seems like it's logical if they're seeing the demand, I suspect they wouldn't be making the acquisition if they weren't seeing the demand for the bodies. So,
Sure.
It seems like a smart move from that perspective, particularly in a very, very hot talent environment all over the place, right?
That's a very good point. But don't you think that in order for AI to work, there's not a lot of press about how data management strategies need to be more focused on? And the focus, I'm not seeing that. They're all talking about, do we really care how many agents a company has? It doesn't really move me. If I have a manufacturing company, how does that help me? Those might not even be specific to what I need. So, whether you have 50 agents or 500, I need my data to work so I can even use those agents.
No, I mean, you're back to the fundamental problem, and we've talked about this quite a lot on this show and others. That the foundation's the data, and until we can get that complete data picture, you're going to struggle. But also remember that there are a lot of applications that they're in use now that are embedding AI capabilities and agentic capabilities that do have the data they need for that part of the workflow process. Right. Is it the right way to do it? No, you need to fix the data. But if I can move ahead in certain areas and change some workflows that do take advantage of the technology, that's what companies are doing. Whether they fix the data foundation completely or not, that's a whole different argument. And we know that's a problem.
So guys, I'll say one thing, I guess. Overall, I am with Ankur as well on this, that the positioning that they have overall from the decisioning product perspective, that might be compared to Palantir. And Robert, to your comment, I don't think this particular use case is related to the actual business transaction, because what they are talking about here is slightly different. Okay, this is your clinical research, and that's going to be more of the decision science. So the use cases and the application that you're looking for here from the customer's perspective is, think about getting cure for cancer, let's say within 6 months or whatever. That has taken, 600 years or maybe 6,000 years. That was not possible, but now that may be possible. So these are not the core transactions, but with AI capabilities, and that's what I personally have not seen a lot of talk about this specific capability in the market, but seems like these guys were doing that. And this is where I see the real power of AI. And you talk about structure of data, whether you need to have some sort of structure with data. Generally, AI is very good at mining unstructured data in general. That does not mean that it can cure your transactions. Again, transactional applications are slightly different, but when you talk about the real insight applications, that's where the real power of AI is. So that's where I see this being really powerful, I would say, and this acquisition, obviously very exciting.
Great.
I mean, Pam, the one thing I will say around life sciences is there has been a good bit of movement from the startup world. I mean, look at Nyquist AI, for example, and there is a lot of opportunity there. So I agree with you from that perspective. How do I take advantage of that better? And so talent bodies in that area around life sciences and pharma research particularly is really important and is moving some things forward and has seen a lot of interest. And I would say, I mean, I've been doing some interviews with just vertical AI use cases in general, right? And I interviewed a guy for my podcast yesterday who in Spain built a insurance company that's AI native, and they've seen just incredible returns from the use of that across, go to market and in claims processing and underwriting, all of the areas of the business. So I think the vertical use cases are going to get a lot of attention this year.
It's huge, as you just said. It's a big driver. I agree 100%. Well, should we hit the next one, guys?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So Flexera acquires two companies, Prosper Ops and Chaos Genius. These are both companies that I think do add some value, specifically because one is more going to be AI and the other one is going to be focused on automation. So I think this helps the customers and it develops the actionable components for Flexera. Where do you guys see this playing most, and how do you think it affects the customers?
See, if I remember correctly, I have had multiple conversations with enterprise users, and runaway costs, which are basically there at Snowflake and Databricks, and even other firms as well, they have been increasing because of three factors. One, usage-based cloud pricing that is there for quite some time. Second is the improper governance and monitoring that's missing in major enterprises. You can call it missing, or you can call it how the algorithm is working at the enterprises and the sales teams are solutioning it. And the third thing is the running inefficiencies at the developers and actual inefficiencies. So because of these three things, the runaway costs have been very high at the enterprises. So these acquisitions, in my opinion, serve three purposes. The most important purpose is that these FinOps solutions are providing a unified umbrella, unlike the earlier time when different FinOps solutions, like one was the unified rate optimization, the other was workload optimization, and the third was cost visibility. So these three are now coming in one bucket. And obviously, the second thing is about the messaging. The messaging that's going to the market is that Flexera is now the hash one player in the market. So yeah, over to you.
I mean,
Robert,
if
Sam.
you look
Yeah.
at if you look at use cases last year too, I mean, we did a lot of survey work around what AI use cases and where's automation, where's AI being applied, and it started in the U.S. coding and customer service. If you look at the rest of the world, it reverses. It's customer service and coding, but underneath that, the next use case really does start to fall in operations and finance, and so I think those areas are getting a lot of attention. And so to me, this plays right into that idea that we're going to see more this year, use of automation and AI use cases across finance, down into supply chain too, of course, manufacturing. We talked about those, but I think this is probably the next hot area to get a lot of attention.
Yeah, could not agree more, guys. I think this is the infrastructure play. So you both are, spot on in your assessment. And I really wish if we had, Hyun Park, this was his sweet spot. It said that he's not part of the analyst community anymore, but he really enjoyed this. And this is going to be, if you look at the workloads from Snowflake, a Databricks perspective, they are really huge. And I'm pretty sure now Palantir is probably going to be in the mix as well. I'm pretty sure. But they are probably doing public cloud. I don't know if anybody does private cloud there. I don't know if they sell as private cloud. This would be more relevant as far as my understanding goes when you are managing your own infrastructure, when you have, I don't know, maybe billions and billions of dollars in infrastructure spend, you have custom development workload. So this is not going to be traditional manufacturing, I would say, Robert. Some manufacturers may have these workloads, but this is slightly different, from the custom development, infrastructure, cost management. And that's where I guess I do see a lot of value. And I think Ankur is right that the whole driver has been commercial. This is usage-based pricing, which you absolutely love, Robert. And I think, if Thomas was here, he loves it as well. But it's a real pain for customers. It's not easy. Yeah. Robert, over to you.
No, I agree with all you guys. I think that, we're seeing a lot of build, buy, or partner, and, I think it's a lot about ecosystems to expand and to give the customers what they need. And I think all these announcements play in that, space of doing types of, partnerships or acquisitions, because you're seeing this a little bit more now than you have in the past, because the customers are wanting this, and it's the quickest way to the market for them. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I completely agree, Robert. For the most part, on your comment. I don't have anything else to add. I don't know if you guys want to move to the next story.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go to the next one. Yeah.
So Flowfinity updates its business process management platform. It's a low-code BPM and workflow automation provider. So what are they doing here? They're adding more AI, as we would think.
Of course they are.
They're adding more AI. They're delivering probably more value to their customers. I think this is obviously it might be more noise than anything, because I guess you would expect this to happen. But is this something that we think is marketing or real, or something that needed to actually be a big announcement?
Well, I mean, it plays into the three of the bigger trends, right? I mean, you've got embedded AI, which, we know agentic across all the enterprise apps platforms are being embedded more and more, and that makes sense. It's embedded in the workflow. That's where you see a lot of value. The second one is, integration. We talk a lot about data integration, but also from an agentic perspective, the use of tools and MCP and giving your agents access to additional tools through that integration layer, going to be really important for them to be able to be, to add value to those workflow processes. And then lastly, we know MCP comes with some security risks these days, and having them mention and talk about the security layer and enhancing security, that's going to be a hot topic this year around integration. So it plays into those three trends. Is it marketing? Is it real? I don't know these guys well enough to go, yep, that makes sense. But it does hit all the major, or not all, but a lot of the major trends that we're seeing.
Yeah, the only question or the only thought process I had while reading this was, while they had always said that security remains a priority, they had said in last couple of years as well. The only thing that I had was, why have they missed the multi-factor authentication and the time-based OTPs in the last couple of iterations as well? Is it still marketing?
Good
Which
question.
Michael was saying, like MFA and TOTPs aren't they qualifying? And if not, when will they become qualifying? Like, yeah,
they are sort of on the basic checklist.
yeah.
Yeah. So in my mind, I guess I don't think that would make a really good press release. And if we brought that story here, hey, I am introducing MFA right now, I don't know how many people are going to be excited here. So we all understand how marketing works. So let's not call them out, I guess, on that. But at the same time, I guess, if I don't see a MCP story with a specific vendor, I would probably have concerns about them. And if they are talking about two-factor authentication right now or multi-factor authentication, that's probably not a real press release in my mind. So I respect marketing, how marketing is supposed to be done. But here, I don't know if you guys have come across them, where they hang out. Is it more of a low-code, no-code platform? I think we have covered them before. So what do they do, I guess? I mean, does anybody have any insight on that?
It's a no-code integration platform. That's about all I've seen about them. I don't know them well either, but.
Okay.
So
do you know?
and are they competitors like Appian and companies of that nature? Or?
I think so. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Yeah.
Okay, and they have been in the market for a long time, or is it like a new startup?
No idea.
No idea. Okay. All right, guys. I mean, if you don't have anything else, we can move to the next one. Robert?
Any comments, or keep on going from the audience?
No comments right now. Yeah.
So let's go to the next
some
one.
Comments if we talk about Blue Jays and Cardinals. You never know. I mean,
yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't get comments.
But Michael is not going to be happy about it.
How's your team looking for next year?
Blue Jays?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we were hoping that we'll get Kyle Tucker, but I mean, Canada does not have $60 million, man. So, so what do we do? There has to be Canadian discount, I guess.
Maybe the U.S. can loan it to you, Sam. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, these days, I don't know. I mean, we are not getting any loans from anywhere.
All right. Well, let's talk about Panaya. It's an AI powered change in testing automation for ERP, CRM. I believe SAP and Oracle and Salesforce use them. They're unveiling an agentic layer to help with more intelligent testing for ERP delivery. I think this is probably a pretty good thing. As we get into these challenges that we talk a lot with detecting risks that happen with transformation, reducing the manual cycles that you're going through testing. I'm not sure if you're going to alleviate all of that, but it can definitely help. Goes back to the data as we talk about, but it also, I think it's getting the customers to trust, some of this as well. What do we all think?
I mean, again, testing automation, not a bad thing. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of, this is wonderful, but it is, it's useful. They are out there. I've run across them a couple of times in the Salesforce and Oracle world. So it's, use of agentic in testing automation make sense. I don't know. It didn't wow me, but I mean, it is, yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, the only plus that is coming is the fact that the data, the agentic layer is weaving the business teams as well, along with the data teams. The business teams are also weaved in. So any kind of inputs that are because see, business is more dynamic as compared to the data team. So any kind of dynamic inputs from the business team are making sure that the system is getting updated regularly. And I believe that's why they're calling it complete understanding of the entire life cycle from development to deployment. So yeah, so that was the only thing that caught my eye. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna start there as well. And whenever anybody says that complete understanding of the entire change life cycle, I don't believe them anymore, because there is nothing called complete, life cycle from the
There's
change
lots of stuff
perspective.
called complete.
Yeah, even Robert cannot pull that off, even though he talks about change management all the time. There is nothing called complete life cycle from the change perspective. Everybody has their own story of change management. So obviously, in this case, this is going to be their version of change management, the way they like to see things. But I do see some value in the story, to be completely honest, because testing is where the majority of the efforts, required from the implementation perspective. Now, if you really look at where the market is moving, they are talking about no implementation with AI native platforms. So I don't know if you need to test. So I don't know what is going to happen to these guys. But some of the AI native platforms are talking about that you can probably implement overnight. So is testing going to be relevant? I don't know. But this is a real value. If you look at the traditional implementation, the way ERP implementations are supposed to work, testing is where I see the real power of AI. Even though I don't trust it at all, but still I do see some value.
Well, it can help tremendously and kind of make, from start to finish quicker. But part of the problem with all transformations, I believe, is that companies have to be willing to change their processes.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to change your processes, then putting a new system in place is probably it can be a potential waste of time, because you're just going to go from, one system that has what you're using one way, and then you're going to be doing it the same way in the new system, and you didn't change anything. So you got to be willing to go through that and improve. And if companies don't trust the system, like you just said, Sam, it's a potential problem. But I think this fits in well because the testing is where you get that validation and that trust to really believe that the processes that you're putting in place are better than what you're doing now.
Yeah.
But
a lot of these are human problems too, from a failure perspective, not a technology problem.
Yeah.
So anything that helps you build more trust in the humans that are adopting this system, that's good. So yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of change is really human. So thanks for highlighting that. And by the way, I mean, this is how the complete life cycle of change looks like, the way Robert was describing. So for a change, I think I'm agreeing with you, Robert, in this case.
Wow.
Thank you, sir. We can end the
We need
show
to have
now.
a little celebration here, because that's like once in a lifetime opportunity, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, should we go to SAP? And they have some new features within retail. And I think retail is one of those spaces that AI can make a significant difference, specifically with inventory control, because of the fact most retailers have a major problem with how do they have inventory control under the right, maximum, products that they need, and how do they understand, what the trends are going to be, so they're going to have better demand forecasting, inventory efficiency. I think this is one of the biggest things when you go from every industry, but specifically retail, of how AI can be a big advantage. If you go to a store and they have an excess amount of inventory, it's because of the fact that they don't control it as well. So these features, I think, would be significant.
Right.
Yeah, it seems to hit a lot of the interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and Robert, adding on your point, apart from inventory, the other thing that they are significantly working, which SAP also focused, is the fact of AI-based assortment management. So while inventory is back the shelves, assortment management is something that is in front of the customers, and where they are focusing what should be the segments, how wider assortment should be, or how narrow assortment should be there. So in that set, earlier inventory backend, now inventory plus assortment backend plus frontend. So yeah, they are completely trying to take over the complete space.
Good point.
Well, the other thing too this year, a lot of discussion around commerce and automation and AI, B2B and B2C, and obviously retail, one of the industries that'll be affected by that a lot. So I see this playing right into that as well, and sales promotion and automation, inventory control, all of those kind of topics are hot and important if you're a retailer, if you're looking at how AI and agentic AI automation starts to play into this. So.
I mean, it gets even stronger if you go to other industries. We're talking about retail, but at supply chain management in manufacturing or in healthcare or finance or in anything. I think it's a big deal. So, Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting story and very interesting commentary from you guys as well. Overall, when I look at the retail market, I don't know how much penetration SAP really had in the retail market. And even if they had penetration, that would be very limited to just the GL layer. And when we talk about the complete picture of inventory, Robert, that could be like change management. It could be all over the place. It's very hard to get it right. Okay. So now when you look at this, SAP obviously has the SNOP solution as well. They have a little supply chain suite, WMS, TMS, pretty much everything. But I don't know how many companies really use that or appreciate that. Because obviously from the SAP perspective, the transaction model that they have is slightly more on a tighter side. And in retail, you require fluid data model. Even if that means that these data sets are going to be disconnected completely. For example, I don't know a company that is probably going to use SAP POS. I've never seen that, but maybe they use somewhere. So most likely you are going to have third-party POS. Now these guys are talking about third-party system integrating, but again, that is SAP's side of the story. Everybody's arguing that I'm going to have agents. Salesforce is going to argue that I'm going to control those agents. Shopify is going to argue that, hey, don't worry about SAP. They have no idea how the front-end experience works, right? I'm going to have my agent. So now you as a customer need to decide, okay, whose agent really wins. But here, what they are talking about is, for example, omni-channel sales promotion. Now, who controls that? I don't know. Sales would argue that that is supposed to belong to sales. Now, you have a little rebate and financials involved there. So I don't know. Again, it's a very complex topic. Depending upon the organizational alignment, depending upon the politics. So, I mean, from SAP's perspective, this is great.
Yeah.
Customers have to take advantage of it, though, if they want to, advance, have efficiencies, planning, forecasting, order control, cross-selling. All these things are big components to be better, to grow, and not rely on manual tasks to actually come up with what we're talking about here. So I think it's a definite plus.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody in the audience yet, Sam, before we go to the next one?
No.
Because I'm not looking at it. Okay.
Yeah.
Syspro and SugarCRM. I don't think this is that big of a story because it's being done everywhere right now. But the partnership, connects sales and shop floor execution. I think that's obviously a nice component here, but I don't think it's anything mind-blowing. I think that's being done with all the major ERPs and CRMs currently. This will all come back to whether or not that company wants to give the reins to the salespeople to put more information in to help out the shop floor and vice versa. It doesn't come down to necessarily the partnerships in my eyes. It comes down to how you're setting your company up to use these softwares.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you a little background on this if you want, because I know Sugar really well, and they actually started moving a few years ago to a vertical focused CRM strategy, which obviously makes sense, especially if you're, number something below 2 or 3, and you're focused on mid to lower enterprise, which they are. This partnership deal with Syspro, they've been talking about this. I first talked to them about this almost a year ago. So it's taken a while. I think the significant thing here is it's a good move for them. It's good for Syspro. They have a lot of opportunity from overlap in customer base, and also customer new opportunities across each of the customer bases, and also just the fact that it's a go-to-market partnership versus just a paper partnership, I think is good. So if you're in the mid-market, it could be interesting for you, particularly if you're one or the other of their customers already. You're a manufacturer, you're a sugar customer, Syspro would be a natural fit then. If you're the opposite's true too. So I think from that perspective, not bad. Well, I don't know that is it? Maybe, but in the mid-market, there's still an awful lot of solutions that aren't easily integrated or maybe not as easily integrated. So that's not a bad thing. I don't, it's not earth-shaking. You're correct.
Doesn't it come down to the discipline of the customer?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, but the go-to-market piece of this is the part for each of those companies that matters. Does it help their customers? Yeah, maybe. I mean, it certainly gives them opportunity there to introduce something that is already
Isn't the setup tremendous though to get it to what they're saying it could be? I mean,
no, not from what I've seen. And again, I know these guys fairly well. The integration is pretty well thought out. They took almost a year putting it together.
Okay,
maybe that just means they're
we'll
slower.
Give you that. But what do you guys think?
Ankur, do you have any comments, or do you want me to start?
So I just went through this. I tried to understand it multiple times, but I could not understand as to what is the specific significance for this GTM that they are calling it out. Like, how does it help them? I totally agree with Michael and Robert. And over to you, Sam. Let the future tell what happens to them.
Yeah. So in my mind, when you look at this, I think this is a big deal. And the reason why this is a big deal is because if you talk to manufacturers and manufacturing, and sugar has had a very difficult position in general from the market penetration perspective. You talk to manufacturers, unless you are talking to very complex devices manufacturers, and you tell them that, okay, hey, look at the CRM. And they're like, what? Okay. Exactly. they don't need to market. Okay. Manufacturers don't need to market because they have orders coming in. The only problem that they have is they are not able to process those orders. So they have a very different problem and very different version of sales and marketing they do. And their version of sales and marketing is very different from the entire world. The kind of CPQ workflows that they are going to have. Now, if you ask Salesforce, hey, give me CPQ, and they are going to say, what? Because they don't have that built as part of their platform. So you have to talk to a third party, add-on. So that's where I guess the real play is, because the data needs to be, when you talk about exchanging data based on these bombs, and you know this better than anybody else, Robert, when you talk about these bombs, when you are going to have 15,000 layers, and then if you are exchanging data between your CRM and ERP, in general, what manufacturers do is, hey, let's not worry about CRM because it's not going to work. So that's where this integration is really powerful. And from the market penetration perspective, this is what I have been teaching my, American colleagues that, together you are far more powerful. You should go together, Canada and US, Syspro, and but some people don't get the kind of alliances, that is. So that's the power that we are talking about. Okay. And by the way, Michael, to your comment related to the integration, I'm actually shocked to hear that they have been working on this for a year. You are right, because I have been seeing a lot of press releases in the past. But here you are talking about AI native iPaaS, and their claim is that they can spin off, I don't know, maybe 10,000 integration overnight, the way AI native platforms are created. So I don't know where the gap is, but this is overall very interesting.
Here's something just as a point. Setting this up sounds easy the way you all just mentioned it, but what if your data is not good? What if you don't specifically define the fields that need to be used in, sugar, and then how those downstream affect Syspro's ERP? I just don't think it's simple. I think that you have a lot of validation that needs to be done in order to make sure this works, because a lot of times there's the discipline of the salespeople is not as good as it sounds like on this screen here.
Yeah. But could not agree more. So, Robert, I'll give you some scenarios here so that you are probably able to relate with this a little bit more. And I don't know, Michael, you might know a little bit more from the sugar perspective. I don't know if they have a real configurator. Implementing configurator is a big deal, especially for the parts business. If you need to digitize the processes in the parts business, it's very, very, very hard. The same thing if you have to do it in the services business, it's even harder. Okay, so Robert, from your perspective, what you're looking at, let's say if you're using a CRM, right? So if you're simply looking at my lead account funnel, that's not very exciting for manufacturers. Okay, what is exciting is, so let's say if I'm trying to quote, I need to make sure that the inventory is going to be available. That is good from the customer perspective or customer experience perspective.
Perfect.
Now, doing that in the vanilla CRM, that's a rocket science. From the integration perspective, it doesn't work. It's very, very, very hard to bring all of this financial data and commit, a complex object as inventory. That's how heavy inventory is. If you're talking about really connected inventory from everybody's perspective, as opposed to siloed inventory. So those are some of the challenges, and that's the real value I see. So that's why I like this alliance really. This is really good because I don't think anybody can compete with this kind of alliance.
I think it's good if the data is good, because what happens if the data is not good and you have 5 years of history in sugar and it's a mess and it's not consistent what the companies have filled out. And I think it's not as clear as it sounds like, because I actually have experience with this, not these two, but like SAP and Salesforce, and merging the data. And I think it's a challenge, to say the least.
I mean, it's not, obviously if there's data problems, you got to clean them up. I mean, I don't think anybody will argue that, but if you're thinking about mid-market solutions, you want things that are easy to implement and pre-integrated as much as possible. And it can certainly help them move faster and provide a much more complete solution, whether it's, whether you're going into both of these, at the same time, whether you've got one and you're adding the other, all of those things, the faster, the easier, the more you can simplify and the more you can integrate and pre-integrate, the easier it is for those companies to do it. And they're, Salesforce and SAP, but you're also talking about massive global, customers, enterprise customers. These are mid-market customers. They're looking for something that's a little bit simpler to go to. And I do actually think this is good. And certainly from a sugar perspective, this strategy of moving across these different verticals and trying to go, deeper in a mid-market way with a good partner has worked well for them so far.
It has to be done if you want to take the next level of modernization. So I don't disagree with that. I'm thinking the setup and delivery and transformation of this is not as simple as you guys are making it out to be. That's all. And even if they're fully integrated, fine, but that's based upon best case scenario that you have set up at your company already. So Sam, quick question for you. If you're advising a company that's been on Syspro and sugar as well for 5 years, and the data is a little bit messy on both sides, would you recommend starting sugar over and making sure that the 10 fields that you need in sugar are populated and not scattered throughout? Some in this customer has the field set up, this other customer doesn't. Do you think the long-term effect will be better if you start over on sugar?
So I guess, starting over is a great idea. But what you are going to get out of it is always a question, right? So generally, in my experience, when you look at 6 different implementation and they have Syspro and even the same versions, Syspro plus sugar, Syspro plus sugar, Syspro plus sugar, but they each are going to be extremely different. Okay, just because the processes are very different, the corporate hygiene is very different, the way they work is very different. So, you can start over, but what you need to fix are your processes. And I know you are sort of prompting me to talk about change management. I get it, man. You always want to bring me back to change management, data quality, and processes. But in this case as well, even if you start over, you have to go back to the basics. By the way, thank you so much for the plug. I really appreciate it, because that's what we do, Robert. So, I'm always happy to talk about change management, process change.
Well, I'm just talking about down the road. Is it going to be a healthier, use of the data if you start over and get better efficiency? That's all I was saying.
So, I think it's a consultant answer, though. It depends, right? It depends on the specifics, not the general, and that's always the issue there. It might be better to start over, but it also might not be needed if you go in and you look at it and see exactly what they've done and where they are.
Yeah.
So, Michael, you want to be careful there because these days, I mean, Deloitte is mandating that you are not going to have any sort of consultant title. So, I don't think you are going to get paid anymore. These things are commercialized from bigger companies' perspective. If they are not calling consultant, then nobody's getting paid if they have consultant title. So,
all right, let's hit one more. We got AVEVA. Let's talk about them. It's an industrial engineering design software. They are adding AI tools to enhance their workflows, which I think is a great thing. Why are they doing this? Productivity can increase, better simulations. I think that's a plus as well. Engineers might resist using AI and trusting it. And I think that's a potential discussion topic too. Michael, what do you think?
I mean, again, this is in design, generative use in design. I mean, look at Autodesk, look at some of the other solutions out there from a design perspective. It seems like this is something that will be important as you move forward. And how is it being adopted? Are designers, do they use it? Do they not? I mean, they are. You can look at any of these sort of automation generative tools that help create that content, whether it's design or photos or whatever. And so I don't think this is bad. It'll take some time and some change management, sure. But it is an area where you see a lot of value from, upgrading those tools and design tools with the automation.
See, I believe this is one of the most significant implementations that AVEVA has done. Why I say it, because is generative AI has been implemented if we see the manufacturing side, only in the knowledge management space, where all of the information and repository has been put up, and then the internal chatbots have been there to help the engineers. In my sense, the change management would be super easy. They would be super excited to use these tools because Gen AI in manufacturing is new. It's pretty new, and in that sense, AVEVA, as it's mentioned here, they are using generative AI in product design, in analysis of design, FEA and CAD analysis. All they are doing, they are also doing optimal layouts of developments. So all these things are pretty difficult. And any AI assistant, we have seen how AI assistants and vibe coding has happened in the software dev space. I believe it would be similar phenomenon in the manufacturing space.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree with you guys. I guess, I mean, there is some power here. We have already seen, at least in my customer base as well, they have started requesting that they would like to explore AI in the engineering use cases. When I look at AVEVA's, positioning in the market, they are calling themselves as unified suite. So I like to call them as more of the ERP of the engineering world, because anything suite is probably going to be ERP. So they have a lot more as part of their suite, which is going to be your MES. And obviously, Michael, I think you spent some time in this space with Autodesk, so you are going to have some understanding of that, right? So you are going to have CAD, PLM, PDM, MES, sometimes QMS as well. Again, from their perspective, right? Now, when you look at the AI agents is a very interesting concept in this particular space. So I don't know if we will be able to automate everything, from the design perspective, and if that is going to be a case, then do we need those many engineers? Because that was the highest count variable for the majority of the manufacturers. That's number one. Number two, the complexity that some of these companies had. If you look at, for example, metal manufacturing, and I don't know which verticals, Robert, you have worked in manufacturing. Some verticals, I mean, they did not even like CAD software, because if you look at, rectangle shape cutting or predictable shape cutting, then these software are great. As soon as you are going to have a little oval, a little triangle, these software, the traditional software, they also used to get crazy, right? Now you are talking about AI. AI changes its mind every second. So I don't know whether you can rely on engineering based on that, because there are real downstream implications, financial implications, customer implications. So I'm not too certain how powerful this is going to be and how reliable that is going to be. But at least what AI agents can do, they might be more from the suggestion perspective that, okay, I'll create the draft, and depending upon how much work you are going to require on top of that. Michael, please.
Yeah, if you look at the wording, this is the important part, and you hit that, Sam. It's assistant, not automation. So we're talking about assistive technology like a Copilot that sits with the engineer, the industrial designer, whatever, and helps with, moving through that process. Will we get to a place where some of it's automated and we use agents? I'm sure we will, but for now, having that capability will make the design process go smoother and faster. And there are a lot of disparate tools. Every company that I've looked at when I was at Autodesk, you saw that same thing, right? They were all using a mash of different things and different PLMs and CAD tools and ECADs, and it's anything that can help them simplify is not a bad thing.
True. All right, why don't we wrap up? Kind of go around the horn. What you all have going on next week? Is anybody affected from the snowstorm that's supposed to hit most of the eastern part of the United States? Michael, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously you don't know until it happens, but we've been preparing a bit here. I'm still down in Georgia at my mom's, and there's ice storm here at my home in New Jersey. It'll be snow, and frankly, I'd much rather deal with snow than ice.
Yeah,
because there will likely be some power outages and some slippery roads for a while down here. So yeah, we went to the store and bought bread and milk because that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Hopefully there's still some left. What about you, Encore?
So I am on the much better side in that sense. There's only a lighter set of rain and the temperature is close to 12 degrees Celsius. So yeah, take care guys in snow. Yeah.
Any plans for the weekend or next week?
No specific thoughts on it. Maybe some more commentary on the analyst side, though I am a movie analyst as well. So yeah, maybe some new movies are coming in. So I will make some analysis on those along with the SAP.
You should have told us that up front. We would have been talking about that.
Yeah, that would have been a lot more fun.
We have zero knowledge about movies.
Yeah, we like the movie. But we were supposed to get a foot here in Virginia Beach. Now they're saying an inch. But I'm supposed to fly out on Sunday to Seattle for Acumonica's event. I'm flying out Saturday instead to try and beat the storm. But hopefully that'll be a good event. See some of our analyst friends there and learn a little bit more about what Acumonica's vision is for the year. I'm assuming they have some nice stuff to show off. Sam, what about you?
Yeah, and Michael, I mean, if you don't like ice, you don't want to be in Canada at this point of time because you have no salt whatsoever. And this is purely because of the kind of comments I made on this show. The salt supply chain has been cut right now. You guys don't get any salt whatsoever.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Sam, I was out walking my dog this morning and they were already salting the roads here well before the storm got here. So,
yeah. So, guys, I mean, this is probably one of the harshest winters that we are facing at this point of time. I mean, it's probably going to be minus 30 and we have no salt, so that's probably going to be a little problem here. And I don't know. I think that is just a supply chain issue. I really don't know what's going on. But there is a real salt shortage right now in Ontario, at least. I don't know if
we're keeping it all in the U.S., Sam. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. I mean, yeah, it's all because of my comments here. I need to be careful.
I think you're right.
You do.
All right, guys. So that's a wrap. I mean, this is always fun. I mean, we like to have fun. And so you can expect a lot more jokes, I guess, in the next episode as well. We meet every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. So I'll see you next week.